And we are back, everybody, from a little bit of a short hiatus here at the first of the year with the Arkansas Razorback Football Report with Otis Kirk. I'm your host, Jason Pattison. Thank you all for joining me today. A quick spot here for our sponsor, Koi Southern Needs. I want to thank you all for all your great uh, support, commitment to us here at hogville.net. And make sure to go and check out all of their great products at koisouthernneeds.com. And you can also find them in select stores here in Arkansas and at Amazon.com and Walmart.com. Make sure and go and re-experience the magic of kois and come get you some. Well, without any further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, here he is, Otis Kirk. Otis, man, how you doing today?
Got my assistant with me today. I'm doing good.
I got my sound producer on the bed. He's ready to go as well, man. I'm telling you, that bulldog, he's probably one of the most lovable dogs I think I've ever seen, man. I'm telling you.
No, I'm about to pull my hair out today. What a little bit I've got left, man. He's driving me crazy. I don't know. He's needy today. I don't know what his problem is, but yeah, he's very lovable. But man, he is just every time I move, he's just it's every day, but it just seems like today, he's just I don't know what it is. But anyway,
man,
I know he's at my door. 3:30 barking, wanting me to wake up, so I come out. When I come out, then they go to sleep. All three of them, they pile up and go to sleep, but they want me out here,
Man, my dog does the same thing too. He thinks he's going to go out and go chase some rabbits in the backyard, which of course there's nothing out there right now because it's too damn cold. Yeah. And he gets me up, and then I go out there and I wait for him to get back to the door. I let him in, and then I sit down for a second, end up falling asleep. But then he falls asleep beside me on the couch. He doesn't even take my spot in the bed like he usually does here lately.
Yeah, I can't even sleep on the couch anymore. His bulldog's too big. He takes too much room, so because he's up there too, and he's just too dang big. Yeah, you got a beagle, right?
Yeah, I got a beagle. Yeah,
a beagle, but not a over fat bulldog. Fat human and a fat bulldog does not mesh well on the couch.
I'm not going to say that my beagle Max is a small dog by any stretch of the imagination, man. He's kind of a bigger dude anyway, but he likes to sprawl out, and so that really that really takes up a lot of space there because he likes to stretch those legs a lot too. But man, oh man, well, also really quick, if you are putting up any messages for us on Facebook, make sure to type in your name and give permission to show that on StreamYard. I do have somebody that's already put a message on here that says Woopik Suey. I just can't see who it is. And so if there's something great that you want to put on there for us to put on the show, make sure to give Facebook or StreamYard permission to use all of that good information for StreamYard. Also, make sure to check us out on hogville.net. You can see all of Otis's updates with the portal, with the transfer. I don't know if I want to use the word transfer portal. I don't like the word because, quite honestly, it causes all sorts of hell. And any updates, recruiting information. You got softball that's going to be coming around the corner, women's basketball, all the stuff with Kevin with men's basketball. And just make sure to check everything out on hogville.net and also go into the recruiting section, and you can find all the different areas too to look at, all the information that you want. So make sure to add up any of your questions, comments, concerns, like, share on YouTube as well. So Otis, my man, what's going on with this portal stuff? How's everything going with the Hogs?
Arkansas got 13. Arkansas signed 13. I started to say they got 13. They actually signed 13 kids from the portal. They've got a couple of 3 walk-ons. The biggest one, of course, is the kid from Baylor, who was on a scholarship down at Baylor and came to Arkansas and from Camden Fairview. And, but 13 scholarship kids from the portal. That's a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, a tight end. From the portal to be 3 offensive linemen, a defensive end, 1 linebacker, and a kicker, and the two defensive backs or three defensive backs. That's doing it off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure that adds 13. But yeah, and they're all midterm guys. Yeah, 3 defensive backs because you had the kid from Tennessee, you had the kid from South Alabama, and then they added Miguel Mitchell Friday from Florida, the safety, who is a safety. The others are cornerbacks for anybody. Getting the kid from Albany, a defensive end. Man, John Guy, that was he's a stud, Jason. I mean, and he's 15 pounds bigger than Jared Verse. And the reason I bring up Verse was from Albany too, that went to Florida State. And this kid's about 15 pounds heavier right now than Verse is now. Not when Verse came out of college or transfer portal, but Verse is listed at 260 on the Florida State roster. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's what he's listed at. And Anton's 275, and that's legit 275. And but he'll begin classes tomorrow. I really like the quarterback. I like them all, but the running back. I mean, they dropped the kid from Alabama, the DeJounte Burnett, DeAndre Burnett, the running back from Alabama. I'm getting DeJounte Murray is all I've had on my mind about the Lakers trading. Yeah,
I was going to say, yeah,
not DeJounte Murray, but Burnett, DeAndre Burnett, the running back from Alabama. 4-star that was supposed to be this past weekend. They dropped him. They dropped Rodney Hill the weekend before that from Florida State. Once they got the kid from Utah, they pulled the plug on the rest of the running backs. Bo Mosley, he's a good ball player, man. Fast kid too. In fact, I got to get down to Russellville or do a story on Bo pretty soon. But but Arkansas, the offensive lineman, but Fernando Carmona is a stud, Jason. I mean, the kid's got some potential. I like Blackstock, and I like the center, too, from Alabama. I'm sorry, from Tennessee. My brain's off today. The kid from Tennessee, I like him, Addison Nichols. But anyway, they had a junior day bringing up Bo Mosley there, kind of they had a junior day or prospect day. I call it prospect day because it used to be junior day because in the old days they'd bring in juniors, rising juniors, going to be seniors. But now, I mean, I call it prospect day simply because they offered a 226 kids and 127 kid this past weekend. So I mean, it's not a junior day anymore. I know some people still refer.
Yeah.
And it used to be, I mean, back when I first started doing this, and when they first started doing those, it was pretty much true junior days. But now I call them prospect days simply because there's just so many kids. Like I said, there was a 26 kid from Little Rock Southwest, got offered Anthony Kennedy, 6'5", 265, maybe something like that, defensive end. Running back, another Batman and athlete from Jinx. The running back's 26, the athlete's 20, class of 27. If people's wondering why I'm talking about 26 and 27, I know recruiting diehards know, but there may be some people that don't know why I'm class of 27, class of 26. They'll have a prospect day that's coming Saturday, and then they'll have one the following Saturday on January the 27th. And I do know Tay Lockett's supposed to come to the one this weekend. Coming up weekend, the kid from California is committed. I'm going to try to have some stories this week on some of the kids that was here this week. I had one on Tate Spray from Center Point, trying to help that kid because I used to be from Mena, and I bet some of the people listening to this show don't even know where Center Point's at, man. It's down around Glenwood, Amity, which they might even know where those are. But I mean, I'm from which is about 50, 60 miles from those places. So I know where Center Point is. But a lot of people don't. I'm trying to help the kid. I mean, he's 6'5", 270. He's a good ball player. It's not like I'm doing a charity story. He's a good ball player. It's just his name out there. And so I talked to him Saturday. But I'm going to try to get hold of Kennedy. I talked to Batman. He's actually going to go on the TV segment with me on Pig Trail Nation here later on whenever I need him to, but I talked to Batman and Jinx, but I was talking with Jacob Sunday on the Pig Trail Nation show I do, and I've made this point before, maybe on here, but Jason, think about this. And I may call you Jacob, but like I said, my brain's off today, man. It's been a while.
It's the snow. It's the snow, man.
Think about this. In Oklahoma, in Tulsa, let's break it. Let's don't say Oklahoma. Let's get this Tulsa. You've got 5 high schools that if you went to those 5 high schools every year recruiting, it would pay to recruit Oklahoma. Tulsa Booker T. Washington, Tulsa Union, Broken Arrow, Jinx, and Owasso. Those 5 high schools. That doesn't count the other ones, but those 5 right there, man.
Hotbed.
Yeah, those are hot. I mean, they've got prospects. I mean, Arkansas signed somebody from every one of those schools. I mean, they've had kids from all those schools, and obviously Felix Jones, Keon Hatcher, a couple of that jump out right off the bat. Eric Bennett, Booker T. I mean, there've been others, but I'm just saying that Felix Jones and Keon Hatcher probably in recent years was fairly recent years. I still call those fairly recent years. I mean, they're in the SEC, since they joined the SEC. Felix Jones and Keon Hatcher might be the 2 best. I'm probably leaving somebody out over there, but anyway, but I know those were both studs. Alvin Bailey from Broken Arrow came here, offensive lineman.
Great offensive lineman, yeah.
I want to say with the Seattle Seahawks, I may be wrong on that, but I know he got some time in the NFL. Yeah, Alvin Bailey was a stud. He was from Broken Arrow.
He spent quite a few years with Seattle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He was really good. In fact, I think he played his best football maybe after he left here. But yeah, Jinx has had kids, came here. Union's had kids. David Carlton, a kicker, maybe he could boot that football from Union. Tim Dial was from Jinx. I mean, and there's been other, Brady Latham's from Jinx, So, I mean, there's been those schools, whether it's Arkansas or somewhere else, those 5 schools send a lot of prospects out to colleges, and, OU's had a ton of kids from those schools, Oklahoma State. But those are 5 high schools that if you didn't recruit anything in Oklahoma, but those 5, man, it'd pay to go to the Tulsa area. I hit 3 or 4 of those in one day. One day I was over there and I went to Jinx and interviewed somebody. I went to Booker T and interviewed somebody. And I went and watched Keon Hatcher practice and then interviewed Keon all in one day. And it's easy to do. And it was in the afternoon. I mean, it was like 12 o'clock, right after lunch at one school, like Jinx. Then you hit Booker T, and then you time it just about right to go up. I had to wait a while for Owasso to start their practice, but I hit 3 high schools just in the afternoon. So I mean, and I mean, I'm talking about interviewing kids, taking pictures, and but yeah, those are they're recruiting a kid out of Wagner right now, defensive end, tight end type kid. Arkansas is. He's been over here to I think he may have came to picnics they had back in July, I believe. Game. Anyway, they're recruiting players, and but yeah, the portal's been good to Arkansas. I'm not sure where they're ranked now. I know at one point they jumped up to 3rd in the SEC and 9th in the country with their portal, and that's before they added. I think that was before they added Miguel Mitchell, and I know Ole Miss has done well in the portal. And a couple other schools, but Ole Miss has done really well. They've especially on defense, and they probably added some more offense lately. But I think since we did the show, KJ went to UCF. I don't know that that's where I thought he would go. I knew it was UCF, Miami, or TCU.
I thought TCU personally, but
yeah, you kind of had once Chandler Morris hit the transfer portal, you thought,
that's a done deal.
I guess you're I was being a conspiracy guy, thinking, well, they ran Chandler Morris off, so here goes.
Yeah.
And it turned out that's not what happened. And Chandler, by the way, ended up at North Texas. I don't know if people have seen that or not.
That's right down the road.
Yeah, he's been to OU, been to TCU. And injuries hampered him at TCU. And in fairness to him, he was set to start both years there, and he got hurt. So, I mean, it's not like he's been a dog or anything. He hasn't, And
bad luck.
That year they came out, there were 3 of them I really liked. I liked Chandler. I liked Jacoby Criswell, And I like the kid that went to A&M from Longview, and now he's at Georgia Tech.
Haynes King.
Yeah,
Haynes King.
So those were three that I really liked. I don't know who was the best, but I liked all three of those kids. You knew Chad was going to take Chandler, so you knew that. So, I didn't think Chandler was any better than Jacoby, to be honest with you. I thought people, I think, have written Jacoby off simply because they've signed the Boise State kid. And, and I'm not saying that he won't be the quarterback, the kid from Boise State, but I'm just saying that, I wouldn't write Jacoby off just yet. He's pretty darn good. People don't realize how good he is.
Yeah. I got a little bit of Razorback love from some folks in Facebook. CJ McLean was the first guy to give us a Woo Pig Stewie today. So I want to give a quick shout out to him for watching and appreciate that, man.
CJ, my man. Went to his wedding one time. Went to his wedding down in North Little Rock, I believe. CJ can correct me. Maybe it was Little Rock. I believe it was North Little Rock. I went to his wedding, got an invite and went down to his wedding down in North Little Rock. And I had a good time. But yeah, CJ's a good guy, good dude, man. He, heck of a defensive end, heck of a defensive player at Arkansas. I like CJ. Good guy, man. Friends with him on Facebook. And
it was a one-man wrecking crew back in the day.
Yeah, he was good.
Lord.
And, he was one that Houston kind of gave a second chance to, and shows you that I like it when coaches give a second chance to somebody. And, CJ, it worked out well for CJ. Heck, it worked out well for Coach Nutt. He got a good ball player there. So, I believe in second chances. I mean, I know some live a perfect life and a charmed life, and they don't believe in second chances, but I'm not one of those. So I believe in second chances, and, not that CJ done anything terribly bad or anything. I'm just saying that, he was kind of in the doghouse, I guess, with Coach Ford, and Coach Nutt came in and started him and got a great player out of the deal.
Want to thank Garrett Brown. He's watching. He's had a couple of Facebook comments on here, wondering about the quarterback, I guess, competition, if you will. I mean, it's right now. At
least there is competition. I mean, we haven't had quarterback competition. I don't even remember the last time we had any, because even after BA left, you knew Brett was going to make Austin the quarterback. I mean,
probably venture to say 6 or 7 years ago since we had a quarterback competition.
But I guess when when Chad was here, he played quarterback roulette with those guys, Ty Story and Ben Hicks and Nick Starr. I mean, it was like a rotating door,
I think they had 5 starting quarterbacks that season, if I'm not mistaken.
Connor Nolan got in there. I mean, Chad couldn't settle on a quarterback. So, but for the and I don't even know if that was quarterback competition, but I mean, it was just Chad being Chad. But yeah, this spring's going to be interesting. It's not just quarterback, too. You got running back. It's not no longer do we go out there on first day of spring or second day of spring football and say, well, KJ and Rocket have got their places secured, because that's not the case. So it's going to be interesting in that sense. And quarterback always intrigues everybody, man. That's the position that everybody's intrigued. And it should be, because, hell, it's probably the most important position on the team. I mean, you don't have a quarterback in the SEC, you're in a bad spot. So you better be I'm not making fun of it being a priority by fans. I mean, it's a legit position, man. But I'm just glad there's going to be some competition out there. I feel like the kid from Boise State probably honestly has the inside track because of experience, but Jacoby is going to battle with him. And Jacoby's talented. So, and you've got Malachi and KJ. So, KJ Jackson. So,
I think people are going to be a little surprised with the arm strength that Jacoby has, because from what I saw during summer and fall, and you've probably seen, I know you've seen more than I have, but I honestly felt like Jacoby had more arm strength than KJ did.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of accuracy problems. KJ had the same too as well, but I think that was also with the offensive line, which I think they're wrapping up.
Yeah.
But I think people are going to be really surprised by the arm strength that Jacoby has, and I think that it's going to be a really tight battle. And I think from what I'm guessing, Bobby's not going to really give you exactly who the starting quarterback is publicly until right before game time.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, there hasn't been a true, legit quarterback battle over in a war. You felt like it was legit. I mean, even when Chad to me was just playing cheers with them. I mean, just revolving door, you know. So I didn't consider that quarterback competition. I mean, I felt like they were determined to try to make Ben Hicks his quarterback as much as they could. And I felt like he probably deserved at least, you know, but that was just my 2 cents. Yeah, I think about Arkansas. You know, I've had some people ask me, why do you feel more positive about the team coming up after they lost some players? Well, first, you're going to lose players, key players every year because of the transfer portal. All schools have, believe me, all schools. Alabama's losing. Michigan's going. I mean, Alabama lost some after that coaching change, but you're going to lose some key players. That's just. But the key is go to the portal and get good players back. And I feel like Arkansas, like I said, it's rated in the top. I feel like Arkansas has done a good job, regardless of where it's rated. I think it's rated in the top 10, 15 classes, portal classes, 3 or 4 in the SEC. That will change, obviously, but I like what Arkansas has done there. But it felt like last year, I felt like Arkansas had 2 big issues that kept tied them back a little bit, Jason. And that was play calling. I felt was horrendous. It was. I mean, especially when Enos was here. I thought it was too predictable. It's not. That's the last thing you have to worry about with Bobby Petrino is play calling being bad or predictable. So Bobby Petrino upgraded the play calling. And I honestly think they've upgraded the offensive line with Eric Mateus. They're not shot at Cody at all. I love Cody Kendi. But I just feel like, well, for one thing, I think they've upgraded the talent a little bit there. They've gotten some experienced kids from the portal. I felt like they didn't get enough last year from the portal. I think they've gotten 3. Probably going to add another one eventually from the portal and a couple of high school kids. But I feel like and then you got Chamblee and all these kids that played. You know, the kid from Florida, all of them. Tyke, all of them got another year under their belt. The kids that come back that played last year. You know, they've all got another year from under their belt. So obviously you feel good about that, Jason. So it's not just coaching, but I just feel like the players are another year older. You supplement it from the portal. One thing that I do like that Pittman does, and I know it's easy to criticize the guy right now. Everybody does on Twitter and X and stuff. But one thing that I do like that he has shown a tendency to do is he has done a good mixture of high school and portal kids.
Yeah.
I think some coaches rely way too much on the portal and some maybe not enough. But he's got 7. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm talking about scholarship player. I think Sam's got 17 high school kids, 13 portal kids. Now, obviously, he's going to add some more portal. But last year, the numbers were pretty balanced. It was like 20 and 19 last year. I believe 20 high school, 19 portal. I like that Sam is trying to balance this thing out and not just going strictly high school or strictly portal. I think the basketball team's an example of what happens when I'm not trying to dip into Kevin's territory, but I think you can dip a little too heavily into the portal, man. I think you still got to develop, and I get kids, you develop them and then they leave. I get all that. I know it's frustrating as heck for these coaches, but I do like that Pittman tries to balance that thing. He's not just relying on just high school, maybe like Dabo, or just portal kids like some coaches, football coaches. I think Coach Prime up in Colorado really relies on the portal a lot. And he may have to because he's just been there 1 year. I can see him doing it more than – I don't mean that as criticism because he came in, inherited a bad situation at Colorado. And then – so he had to, upgrade the talent pretty fast. He hadn't been there 4 years like Sam starting his 4th year here. So, yeah, there's a big difference there. But I'm just saying, I think I do like that Pittman tries to balance it out, not just rely strictly on one or the other. I think you can rely too much on high school and not enough on the portal too. I think Clemson is a good example. Their program is not winning like it was, and Dabo's not a big portal guy. And I'm telling you, man, you got to adjust with the times. I don't care who you are. I feel like Nolan is greatest coach that ever coached here in basketball, the best, the absolute greatest. He was reluctant to. He didn't really like the AAU, and it hurt him late in his career, I think,
Yeah.
And that's not a shot at Nolan. I love Nolan. Like I said, he's the greatest basketball coach this school probably will ever see, to be honest with you. I can't say that. I mean, I don't know who'll be coached 100 years from now, but I know to me, he's the greatest coach that ever coached here in basketball, and he reluctant to adjust to the AAU. And I get it. I completely get where he was coming from, but you can't really do that, I mean, I get what he was saying and why he hated dealing with some of those handlers or whatever I mean, I completely get where he was coming from, but I think you've got to do a better job adjusting. So we'll see. But I feel like Sam, that's one area I think that Sam has done well in. I mean, there's plenty of areas to question him in, but the portal high school balance I do like from Sam.
And I want to throw this out here too before we move on to one other thing really quick, that whenever Sam was going into the portal and also at the high school with the numbers that he wound up with, that was not only a signal to the team, but that was a signal to fans saying, I'm still going to be here for another year or two. This isn't one of those things where I feel like I have to win now and I'm going to sell out and I'm going to go get JUCO guys. I'm going to go get portal guys, kind of do like what Prime did. I'm not saying that Prime's selling out there, but Sam understands that his back's against the wall, but it's not that hot yet.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like I said, I think it had been a big mistake. Like I said about Prime, he inherited a team that didn't have much talent and was like what were they, like 1-11 or something, So he had to rebuild. I mean, he had to get a quick fix pretty quick. So I get that. But but Sam, he didn't. Yeah, he could have easily just ignored the high school ranks and went strictly JUCO and portal, got older guys and tried to make a quick fix of it. But then in the year, you'd be right back in the same predicament. They'd be leaving and stuff. So, yeah, like I said, I think you've got to have a good mixture there. And I feel like some coaches, not in football and basketball, baseball, they go too heavy one way or the other. And I think there's a happy little median there. And I feel like Sam is kind of finding that. I thought last year maybe he didn't go enough in the portal on the offensive lineman. I thought Sam could have gotten another lineman or two. He got Josh Braun, and he started. But if I'm not mistaken, I know he went to JUCO and got the center. I get that. But I believe Braun was the only portal offensive lineman last year. He got 3 this year and trying to sign one more. But
he was the only one from last year.
Drive me crazy about Percy Lewis and the other kid, Micah Masaka, but that is not their biggest need, a fourth offensive line. They need one, but those kids, linebacker and defensive tackle is where they're needing Masaka is his name. But he went to, what's weird about Micah, he never mentioned Nebraska to us. I mean, he never once mentioned Nebraska to any of us recruiting guys that, or at least the little group I'm with. He never mentioned Nebraska, and now Percy mentioned Auburn, Tennessee, and Ole Miss. He did mention those. But Micah never once mentioned Nebraska. Syracuse, Arkansas, a couple other schools, never once mentioned Nebraska. He signs there. And the NIL deal now, you never know where a kid's going to end up, man. Percy committed to me before he left here. He said, I can't wait to get back. So, the NIL, once they leave and they start taking other visits, anything can happen. And I didn't feel like they'd get Percy once he left here. And Anton signed before he left here. You felt good about that. But once they left, I'm telling you, in this day and age of NIL, you got a kid like that, like those kids on campus, Micah and Percy, and Miguel's the one that left here that eventually signed. The rest of them somewhere else. I'm telling you, man, that when they leave here and they go and they don't sign or commit, and they go to take other visits, NIL, you're not going to get them. I didn't think they'd get Percy. I really didn't. I felt better after he canceled, or him and Otis got into it, because he told me he wasn't going to Auburn. Hey, he told me he didn't like Auburn. He signed there, but he got enough NIL. But I'm just telling you, these portal kids, what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about high school. These portal kids, when they leave here and they don't sign or commit, or especially sign, because commit don't really mean anything. Because like I said, Percy told me he's coming. But sign, Anton signed before he left here. The one kid that left here and didn't come back was Miguel. And the rest of them, they didn't get them. And that's why it's huge, man, to get them signed when they're on campus, or get them locked down. Yeah. But
I think that's
when they leave here, like I said, Micah never mentioned Nebraska, man. I've talked to two other recruiting writers that I work with, Danny and RD, and he didn't, none of them. He didn't mention Nebraska to any of us three. And I mean, we're talking three guys that work our butts off on recruiting, and he didn't mention Nebraska. Because I asked them, and they asked me, and I said, no, I never. Micah never once mentioned Nebraska. So that's why. Now, like I said, Percy did mention Auburn, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. He did, in fairness to him. And he told us he's going to take them. But Micah never. Syracuse, I think maybe Ole Miss or somebody else. I don't remember who else, but it was another school. But he didn't mention Nebraska to any of us. So that's what I'm saying, man. When this NIL deal, once they leave here, all bets are off on getting them. Miguel they got, but the rest of them, no. The other two, no.
I think that you're going to start to see a lot more schools put that up front. Whenever you come to visit us, we are going to need a hard commit from you, and not a commit, but we need that signature by the time you leave here, because if not, then the deal that we have for you is off the table, because like you said, once they leave campus, all bets are off and anything can happen. And I think that that's what they're going to want to get, is a solid commitment of, we're getting you signed while you're here. And if you're not, this is over with.
How do you think Texas A&M felt when Anton left there?
Yeah.
When Anton came to Arkansas after he left A&M. How do you think A&M felt? It's not just Arkansas, folks. It's not Sam Pittman losing these kids. It's everybody. Anton did not sign with A&M. He left there and took this visit, which I didn't know if he would or not.
Yeah.
But he was going to visit Arizona State and Syracuse. Was it Arizona or Arizona State? One of the Arizona schools, I believe Arizona State and Syracuse after he left here. Maybe it was Arizona on Anton, but he didn't. He signed that day. But no, I mean, when Anton left A&M and didn't sign with the Aggies, came here, bang, I mean, CJ Mays left here, went to A&M, I mean, I'm just telling you, man, once they leave here or leave other schools and you come here, bang, and so that's how it works with the NIL and the transfer portal, because a lot of them simply are looking, now some of those kids are simply looking for the best offer they can get. And I'm not criticizing them. They're wanting the best offer they can get, and they've got, they're wanting it. Hey, you don't get it when you're hot, you won't get it, when you got leverage. If you don't get it then, you won't get it in this world, and that includes work and everything else. So, I mean, I'm not blaming the kids, but I'm just saying, if you don't sign them while they're here, now, as it turned out, that was during the signing period where they could sign them. There'll be times coming up when you can't sign a kid because it's not time. But I'm just saying that there is, if you can sign a kid while he's on campus, you've got him, But once they leave here, well, Arkansas got Miguel. They didn't get the two offensive linemen. CJ Mays, I don't know how much they wanted CJ. They took those other two corners. I don't know how much they wanted CJ Mays, to be honest with you, because they already had two portal corners. So I'm not CJ really. I don't even know if I don't think they really were. They liked CJ. He's a very good player. But once you got the other two signs, there really wasn't much need for him.
It was more of a numbers game at that point.
That's the only safety they've got in the class, not in the class, but in the portal is Miguel. So that you know, he's a big kid too, Jason. Now his size, 6'1", 215, it's legit. I told him, I said, you look like a linebacker. And he said, yeah, but I'm a safety. He said, the team tried to recruit me to play linebacker. I'm a safety. And I said, oh, okay. He got to set me straight. You know, no, I mean, he was nice.
Yeah.
He wasn't snapping me, but he doesn't like that linebacker talk. He emphasized he is a safety. And you know, and that's good. I mean, you know, but 6'1", 215, he can come down, he'll hit you, and I wouldn't want to be hit by him, but no, I like him. He started 8 games for Florida, played in 11.
Mm-hmm.
But they've done well in the portal, Jason. I mean, they really have. And I like their high school. I thought the 2 best players in the state of Arkansas high school in the class of 24 was Charlie Collins and Courtney Crutchfield. That's the 2 best players, in my opinion. And they got
one.
Yeah, and they got the defensive lineman. If you're going to give me a defensive lineman or a wide receiver, give me the defensive lineman every time. It's about if they're even.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, man, and I'd love to have seen both come to Arkansas. I love Courtney Crutchfield, but I feel like I looked it up because there were some people griping about Arkansas losing the top player in the state every year. Because honestly, I don't pay much attention to the recruiting rankings, but I looked it up after this guy was making a big deal about Courtney being the number 1 player in the state. I looked it up, and he is the number 1 player in the state, Courtney, with 1 recruiting service. Charlie was with 2, and then ESPN had Walker White, the number 1 player. So 2 recruiting services had Charlie Collins, number 1 player. One of them had Courtney, and one of them had Walker White. So it wasn't like it was it wasn't a consensus number 1. But I do think the 2 best. I think the 3 best high school players in Arkansas, and I'm not putting them in any order, but forget classifications or whatever. I thought the 3 best high school players was Charlie, Courtney, and Kane Archer at Greenwood. Those were the 3 best high school players. You can put them, and I'm not saying that in order. I'm not putting them in order. I mean, you know, I'm not putting them in order because they don't play, you know. I mean, but those are the 3 I thought was the 3 best players in the state of Arkansas this year, regardless, 2 seniors and a sophomore, and you know, and Kane, man, he is unbelievable. I'll tell you, kid. I'll tell you a quarterback I like though a lot is Grayson Wilson.
Yeah,
Don't be surprised how good he's kind of showing this stuff at the Army Combine, and he got now because a lot of people took him for granted. You know, he committed to Arkansas, had an Illinois offer, a couple of offers here and there, but I'm telling you, man, I'm just telling you, Grayson Wilson. Honestly, I think other than Kane, I think he was as good as any quarterback in Arkansas, if not better. And, you know, I feel like KJ Jackson was a good pickup for the Hogs too. But I know he's not from in-state, but there's a lot of talent in Arkansas that's getting ready to emerge here. And I hope Arkansas does a better job of keeping them at home because there's a lot of talent in the state. There's big linemen, there's some quarterbacks. Running, you know, whatever, receivers, but there's some players, and Arkansas needs to keep these kids in state, or at least most of them. You can't always keep all of them, but they need to. I think Sam needs to really emphasize the in-state. You know, we'll see, but he really needs to.
I think that's where Sam's also going to be able to capitalize with bringing Bobby on, with Bobby's ties to the southern part of the state, and that's really going to help Sam from Little Rock down. That's going to help Sam immensely here in the next 2-3 years because, like you said, there is a lot of talent that's going to be coming out of the southern part of the state that Missouri's already made inroads on. We've already seen the players that have left go to Auburn, go to Ole Miss, go to Missouri. And with Bobby coming back on board, I think that's going to take care of itself to a point because his relationships that he's already established with those coaches that are still down there.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to help a lot.
Well, I think, too, if Bobby gets that offense where it's not pathetic like it was last year, that will help recruiting regardless of, you know, I mean, that's one reason. I mean, you can look at the offense last year, 3 points against Mississippi State, you know. I mean, it's understandable why some of the kids didn't really want to play. But there again, that's why I said, that's why I think the team will be better because I love the upgrade and play calling with Bobby. Quarterback coach too, but upgrade and play calling But then the offensive line, I feel like they upgraded the coaching a little bit, but also the talent there. I think they've upgraded the talent. So, and experience, the kids like Braun and Chamley and, the kid from Memphis. What was his name? The young guy that started. Kudas. Those are guys that are a year older, going to be better, Jason. I mean, they just are.
Yeah.
And
a lot of reps, too.
And so, yeah, so I just like that. And therefore, they lost Manuel off the offensive line, but I don't think Devin Manuel had a path to play here once they signed Blackstock and Cremona, because Cremona's going to start.
That was the writing on the wall.
Yeah, Cremona's going to start at one of the tackles. Who starts at the other one, I don't know. But Fernando Cremona is going to start at probably left tackle. And then you'll go, Kudas could always move inside. Braun, so I mean, we'll see, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what all happens here in the spring. Spring football is going to be interesting. I'm really on defense. It'll be interesting, but it's really going to be interesting on offense. Not just quarterback either.
No, you won't see any more real movement as far as grad players go, because school starts tomorrow for most schools. Alabama's, and this is something that I found quite interesting on Friday, is that Nick Saban turned in his resignation or announced his resignation the day after classes started at Alabama. So if he would have, put out his, whatever, his retirement announcement, guys jump out that were freshmen that were coming in that they were a sign that they could have said, I'm not sure about this, or portal guys that hadn't quite got there yet. So it was really interesting to see that he's got 6 of his 10 portal guys or freshmen that are coming in are going to already be on campus. So there's only 4 left. So I think that was more of a timing thing for Nick to announce his retirement. And classes start tomorrow. You see where Terry Wells has retired from football. Bryce Stevens has rejoined the team. Those sorts of things are going to pretty much hammer themselves out within the next 12 hours, because there's not going to be any more movement after this.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting scenario at Arkansas, because you've got you got some battles that's going to be going on all spring. And as you said earlier, it may not even be settled in the spring. Some of these may go down to almost maybe not game week, but into the fall camp, preseason camp, not fall camp, but preseason camp. There'll still be some battles going on. And now I will say this, the 30 kids they've got signed, counting high school and portal, 17, 13, only 4 are not here at midterm. That's Bradley Shaw, Wyatt Simmons, both linebackers.
Yeah.
And then Cross, the receiver, and Ashton Bethel Roman, the receiver. Those are your 4 kids that are not here at midterm at scholarship. The rest of them are all here. That would be 26. So I remember I wrote that story last Friday. I think it was. I had 25, but then Miguel announced right after I wrote that story. So 26 is where they're at. And that's not counting the kids like the preferred walk-ons and stuff. They're here.
I'd like to see ABR get in on the summer so that he can start getting some timing down, get into Bobby's system, and get some understanding. Let's not.
He can play, man. God, he's good. I watched his tape, and that kid is something else. Bradley Shaw, Wyatt Simmons at linebacker. You wish they could go through spring, but Bradley Shaw that was a heck of a gift for them. And I mean, he visited in June, and then he kind of slowed down the hype around, not the hype around him, but the thought he was coming to Arkansas kind of played out, and wasn't much talk about it. And then all of a sudden it picked back up. And once he kind of eliminated Auburn, especially Auburn, that was where I thought he'd go, was Auburn. Once he eliminated Auburn and got it down to Clemson and Arkansas, I felt really good about him. and for good reason. He came here. I felt really good. It's always better when you're recruiting a kid. Okay, you're in Louisiana and you get a kid to eliminate LSU. That's one step. That's a big step right there, Jason. I mean, if you can get them kids to eliminate their in-state school, it's always huge, man. I mean, it's just big. You go to Oklahoma and recruit a kid out of Tulsa, one of those schools I talked about. If they can eliminate Tulsa, like Luke was pretty much down to Arkansas and Alabama, And once you eliminate that at home state school, man, you don't get them all. But
bets are off.
A huge step, man. That's a huge step. Luke came to Arkansas, tight end. Just Bradley Shaw, Arkansas over Clemson. Feel a lot better about a kid once they eliminate their in-state school. Because I wasn't Alabama. I didn't really associate that much with Bradley. They offered him, but Auburn was where I thought when he was here and I talked to him. That's where I thought he'd go. But he didn't. And once he eliminated them, man, I said, I bet he's coming to Arkansas.
Matt Mosley brought up a good point. I think I want to touch into this subject maybe the next time we jump on, because one, time, and then two, I feel like this is an issue that we can really talk about and really expand on. Matt Mosley said that with the transfer portal in college football, you're going to start to see more salary cap, GMs. That's something that I actually pointed out on Hogville on the message boards about a little over a month ago, that you're going to start to see a lot of these colleges evolving into an NFL type front office in the athletic department, because quite frankly, Sam Pittman just wants to coach. He doesn't want to have to deal with all this headache and mess. And that's one of the things that Nick Saban even touched on, that you're not so much a coach as more of a manager of the entire program. Now, you need a general manager to do that. You don't need the head coach. And I think that's where that's evolving to.
Yeah. Bobby talked about that at his press conference. He said that he didn't know what any of those kids at A&M was getting for his NIL. Bobby Petrino, that was one thing I noticed. He said he didn't know what any of those kids was getting for his money. So it's a separate deal, man. It's almost like you get into the, you get into the pro like the NBA. Darvin Ham coaches them, but Rob Pelinka's who goes. Darvin Ham's not out here trying to trade for Jonte Murray. Rob Pelinka is. It's a different. It's a different level. It's just a different deal, and it's, it's getting where college, as you just you and Matt pointed out, it's getting where it's that way in college. Well, it's probably already there. It's not getting that way. It's already there. But it's there. And you're a human being, whether you're Sam Pittman, Nick Saban, or whoever. You can only do so much, man. There's only so many hours in a day.
Yeah, you can't add them. Can't add more on.
I have to remind myself of that. I work for the newspapers. I work for Hogville. I work for Big Trail Nation. Sitting here thinking about starting a Lakers site. There's only so many hours in a day, though. And then have to have Christian time, man. So so
you gotta have a life.
Yeah. So, and not just Christy time, but Bulldog time, So,
exactly.
Bulldog. So, yeah.
So CCP Bucks had made a interesting observation, and I want to kind of clear up what I think personally before you jump on this real quick. Otis says it seems as though football and basketball have a massive chemistry and lack of effort issue. What do you all think? As far as football goes, I don't think it was chemistry. I think it was faith in the system from the players. And that's why they weren't executing as well as they could or should have, because, like you pointed out, Dan Enos was a bad fit at Arkansas. Whenever there's a bad fit, you're not going to have players that are going to jump on board and say, you know what, we're going to follow this guy off a cliff. They're going to say, pump the brakes, buddy, because I'm not following you anymore.
Yeah, I'd say lack of effort because I don't know. I haven't seen – I will say this. I haven't seen a lot of leadership on the football team. I'm talking about in 23 or this year's basketball team from the players. I'm talking about from the player. But yeah, when you've got predictable, I hate to bury this guy every time, but when you got a predictable play caller like Dan Enos, man, it's hard. You could tell KJ and those guys hadn't bought into his deal. You could just tell it, man. I know said the right things, and I get all that. But I mean, when I left those press conferences, I knew dang well there was a bunch of crap, you know. I mean, it just was.
Yeah.
And you see why. I mean, just like I'm sitting in the press box not College Station, in Dallas, at Arlington.
Yeah.
Arkansas, right before halftime, Arkansas's got 4th and 1. Like they're on 39, 40-yard line.
Yeah.
And they called timeout. I said they should punt. There was like 2 minutes to go in the half, I believe. I said they should punt because the offense wasn't moving the ball. I said they need to punt. But when they called the timeout then, because they were in punt formation, called timeout, I told Daniel, who was sitting next to me to the right, I said, they're going to go for it. They're going to, and KJ's going to be in the shotgun on 4th and inches. He's going to hand to Rocket. Rocket's going to run to the right, and he's going to get stuffed.
Yep,
guess what?
That's what exactly happened.
Timeout. They came out on the field. They lined up the shotgun. KJ handed the Rocket, and he ran to the right, and he got stuffed. I called that from the
A yard behind line scrimmage.
When they were in the huddle. I mean, they were on the sideline. I wasn't seeing anything. I knew that was just that's what Enos did. That was what it was so predictable. How can you buy into that? I mean, I called that play for the press box before it ever happened. I called the loss and everything else. And I mean, that's why I said they're going to be better because I'm telling you, Bobby Petrino is the best play caller I've ever seen in college football. And somebody's talking about his
We're going to see it again, too.
I saw on X the other day, it's been a few weeks ago. He's not what he was 10 years ago. Let me tell you something. What I told that guy or gal, it might have been a girl. I don't know who it was, but I didn't know him. But I just said, Bobby Petrino at 150 years old could dial up a play from his grave and call it better than 90% of the play callers in college football. 150-year-old and dead. I'm just telling you, man, I ain't buying that crap. He ain't what he was 10 years ago. Maybe in some areas he's not, but play caller, what does age have to do with play calling? I mean, the guy knows football. He took A&M from being over 100 in total offense down to the 20s or better last year. It moved them like 75 spots in total offense from the year before. And he was doing it with his hands tied in Jimbo. I knew dang, and I was on with Matt Mosley. Matt will tell you, I was on with Matt Mosley and Coach Kelly in preseason. And I told them, I said, especially Coach Kelly, I said, he will not, talking about Jimbo, I said, he will not turn Bobby loose. And both Matt and Coach Kelly disagreed. They said he's got to, he has no choice. I said, I'll believe it when I see it. I never for once thought that Jimbo Fisher would hand the offense to Bobby and get out of his way. And he didn't. Yeah. I was right on that. And Coach Kelly's a genius, man. And Matt's a great guy. But I was right on that one. And Matt will back. If he remember, I don't know if he remembers, but I swear to God, there's got to be a tape of that somewhere. I said, I'll believe it when I see it. I never bought for 1 minute that Jimbo, he's an arrogant jerk. He's know-it-all. And he wasn't going to give Bobby the playbook and say, here it is. And I've talked to some A&M reporters that covered that team, and they told me, said he did not. His hands were tied there. I'm just telling you, man. I mean, Bobby's hands were tied at A&M, and he still pulled them up like 75, 80 spots from where they were the year before, Jason. Yeah. So I'm just telling you, man. Arkansas.
There's a high ceiling. There's a high ceiling.
These kids will buy into Bobby Petrino's offense. If you don't buy into Bobby Petrino's offense, it's a you problem. You've got a problem yourself. That's the kid that needs to go. If he's not buying into that system, he needs to go because that's a youth problem. That's not a Arkansas Sam Pittman, Razorback, Bobby Petrino problem. If you got a kid on offense who's not buying into Petrino's system, then he needs to go because that's the best system there is. That guy's a genius, Bobby Petrino, play caller. I mean.
Yep. Well, I want to get over here to this last segment really quick, a little bit of Laker talk here. Honcho Razorback, sorry. I want you to see this, Otis. I think you might be able to delve into this a little bit more than I can.
No, Kobe wasn't a better player than Bron. I like Kobe better. Kobe's my favorite athlete ever. Bron's number 2, and Aaron Judge is number 3. And I'm talking about non-Razorback because Darren McFadden is – I mean, but I'm talking about non-Razorbacks. But Bron, and I'm going to tell you a weird story on this. Dudley may not remember it, but the morning right before Kobe got killed, Dudley, I was with Dudley, and he asked me, he said, who do you think's better, Kobe or LeBron? And I said, LeBron's better than Kobe. And I said, I love Kobe, but LeBron is a better player. It wasn't but 2 hours or 3 after I said that, I found out Jason Carroll called me and told me that Kobe had gotten killed in a helicopter crash. And right after I'd gone to the studio to record a segment. But no, I think LeBron's a better player than Kobe was. He just is. I know people will argue that, but I've seen both of them. I saw Kobe for 20 years. I've seen LeBron. I didn't pay as much attention to LeBron before he got, I mean, I watched him, but before he got to the Lakers, but LeBron is a better player than Kobe. But I mean, that's like saying is Coke or Dr. Pepper the best, or is one steak better than the other? I mean, everybody's got a different opinion on that. I mean, look, man, I mean, I hear all this GOAT talk about Kobe, LeBron, and Michael Jordan. I could make a dang good argument that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, was right up there with
even Oscar Robertson.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I put Shaq the third best center ever for the Lakers. And somebody didn't put him on their All NBA team one day, top 5, and they said that reporter was disrespecting Shaq. I've got him Shaq was great, but I think
they forgot about Kareem and Wilt.
Kareem and Wilt Chamberlain were better centers than him. So I mean, I don't know. It's all opinion, man. I mean, no, I don't think Kobe was better than LeBron.
No, I agree there because it's the impact. I know that Kobe impacted the game, but I think that Kobe impacted positions 1, 2, and 3. But the problem with the difference between him and LeBron is I feel like LeBron impacts positions 1 through 5 because of the mismatch that he creates.
And there again, that's kind of like saying, you'd rather have $100 bill or 10 tens. It's still $100 either way you go. That's kind of how it is with Kobe and LeBron. They're my two favorite athletes outside of Razorbacks, like Darren McFadden and those guys. I'm not going to start naming. I got a million friends that played for the Hogs, but the non-Razorback related, Kobe is number 1 with me as far as liking, favorite. LeBron 2, Aaron Judge 3. I don't even know beyond that. I don't even know beyond that. I mean, I like Cooper Kupp a lot, man. I'm starting to like his Puka Nacua too. Brian calls him
best name in pro football, man. Best name in pro football, Puka Nacua. My God,
Luka Doncic is what LeBron calls him. Like Luka Doncic calls him Puka Doncic, and that may be right, man. So I mean, that kid's pretty dang good, man. I watched him last night. God, that was a good game. I was for the Rams, but. It didn't bother me that the Lions has got 3 Hogs. It didn't bother me they won. I was for the Rams. They're my favorite team. But if they were going to lose to somebody at Detroit's got a good team, man.
They do.
I started to say the Lakers. Rams got beaten in the red zone. They went down there 3 times, had to kick field goals where the Lions got down there and got touchdowns. That was the difference. It's just like Arkansas against LSU this season. When Arkansas dominated that first, it was down there and had to settle for 2 field goals. You knew it was going to bite them in the butt. It just was. It bit the Rams last night. You could just see it. Their red zone offense, they hit the touchdowns were like a bomb to Nacua and I don't remember the other. I think the other receiver, somebody, I don't remember who caught them, but those not bombs, but longer plays. But once they got in the red zone, it bogged down. They had to settle field goals. It cost them the game last night. I felt that I don't know how they missed that holding call, though, on that 3rd down there at the end of the game. The pass to Puka, he got held big time. I believe it's Puka, maybe it's Cooper Kupp. But, I like both those Ram receivers. I like Stafford, Aaron Donald, but
Now, there was one thing I was going to bring up before we get off of here was when you were talking about favorite players, first couple, the one guy that I wouldn't say I idolized, but the guy that I think everybody just looked up to was Michael Jordan, because I grew up during that era, and it was always cool knowing that Scotty was from Arkansas, but you always looked up to Jordan because he was always Batman to Robin. Yeah. But right behind him, I've always thought that Tim Duncan was one of the greatest centers to ever play. Oh, yeah. And he I know they have him listed as a forward, but he was a hell of a center just because of the fundamentals that he had. He showed that you didn't have to be flashy, but you also could still win championships. And that's what I loved about it.
Yeah, they had a team full of those guys, Duncan, Ginobili, Tony Parker. I mean, you don't ever hear those names really discussed when the top players, they kind of, I guess San Antonio, they didn't get a lot of respect. Well, they got a lot of respect, but I mean, you don't still hear their name. But Tim Duncan, Manny Ginobili, and Tony Parker, and I mean, heck, Kawhi was there. I mean, Spurs had some great talent along. But yeah, those guys, as far as a team, instead of just individual player teams, some of those San Antonio teams were outstanding, man. I mean, those guys didn't beat Duncan and them did not beat themselves. You had to beat them. Pop was Pop. I mean, as good a coach as coming as there is, and you played San Antonio. You had to beat them because they weren't going to beat themselves. They just weren't. But yeah, those were some great. Duncan. That's what I said. Duncan. You can say Oscar Robinson. You can say Larry Bird, Bill Russell. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't even know. I don't get into this GOAT stuff. I mean, I really don't, because first place are not even playing in the same era. I don't know, man. I mean, I just did. To me, my question always goes to these people who get radical about that GOAT stuff. Can you not have more than one great player?
Yeah, exactly.
LeBron, I don't care who's the best. I mean,
that's why they have all decade teams.
I mean, Magic Johnson, Kareem. I mean, I mean, hell, I love Pau Gasol. I mean, I'm not saying he was one of the greatest. I'm just saying I love Pau Gasol. Talking about one of the nicest guys, the smartest guys that ever played in the NBA, Pau Gasol. I mean, I love a lot of those players. I mean,
the NBA knew that was going to be a problem a long time ago, and that's why they came up with the all decades team also, because that kind of put to rest this whole who's the best of the best. They knew that was going to be a problem, so that's what they decided. You know what, we're going to do an all decade team, so that way we can have the best collection of players during that 10 years. Because you could sit there and what I would love to see is all those decade teams get together and start talking smack amongst all of them, because I'm going to tell you what, man, that probably would be some radio gold.
Yeah, I loved, man, Kobe was just a guy, though, that I watched all 20 of his years with the Lakers. And because I get the NBA ticket, I've had it ever since I moved up here where it was available. When I lived I moved up here in 97, but when I lived in Mena, it wasn't. I actually lived in a little old community called Potter out in the country. Didn't even have cable till the very end. I had to watch Arkansas basketball national championship off of an antenna because we didn't have cable. It didn't come out there where I lived. And the neighbors and me and a few others started a petition, even though I knew I was eventually moving up here. I signed the petition and paid out of my own pocket. We all chipped in money to get cable out there. I knew it ate up the value of the house. I had a house in 10 acres, and I knew if it had, I wanted to see cable, and so I didn't have access to the NBA ticket. I don't even know when it started, but I didn't have access out there. Like I said, I watched on the antenna for years, but out of that Potter. But anyway, once I got up here and I got the NBA ticket, I don't get the Major League Baseball or the NFL, but I mean, there's only so much money to go around. Those are not cheap, but so I watched. I don't miss Lakers games. I'll watch the one tonight. Of course, it's on the NBA TV, but I don't. I watch every Lakers game. I just don't miss. I missed one. That was the Miami Heat game last year when Arkansas played Kansas at the Liberty Bowl. Because I'm in the press box at the Liberty Bowl, so I couldn't watch it. But that's the only one I've actually missed in the last several years. I mean, there's the one before that, when the Outback Bowl, Lakers beat Portland the night before, so I got to see that. And then they played Sunday night, and I got back from Tampa in time to stop at Conway and get to see the game from Conway instead of driving all the way home. I stopped and stayed at a hotel in Conway where I could watch the Lakers play, and then drove home Monday morning from Conway plus I'd driven from Tampa all the way to Conway, so I was ready to stop anyway. I knew if I got home at 1 o'clock at night and the Bulldog and them was going to go crazy, and I wouldn't sleep anyway. So I was
going to say, you wouldn't get any sleep that night.
No, they would have gone crazy when I got home, and so I stayed in Conway and watch the
Mhm.
Lakers play. But yeah, and part of it's because I didn't want the dogs was going to go crazy, and they did when I got home Monday morning. They went nuts, especially the bulldog. He's so big. He's just so big. You looking at me like, what are you saying about me, man? You talking about trash? Yeah, I am bulldog. He's looking at me, giving me that eye, man. He's like, what? He's smart, man. He's smart. He watches that TV. When he gets serious, when he's watching those TV animals, beating them up, when he comes off the couch, you know he's serious. And he gets in front of the TV. He'll bark at him from the couch, but when he gets really serious, he got the national anthem singer the other night. I have no idea what set him off about that. The national anthem. I mean, he hears it every night, but he heard that the guy, I don't know if a girl or a guy, was singing the national anthem the other night, and he went completely crazy. I have no idea what set him off on that. And then he was watching the Dallas Green Bay game yesterday and went nuts late in the game. I don't know what I don't know what sets him off. But I'm talking to Dudley one day. Dudley will tell you this story. I'm talking to Dudley on the phone, and he was watching Wilkos. The bulldog was watching Steve Wilkos, and they did their required weekly test where they do that update. He went crazy. He got off the couch, got in front of the TV, and I couldn't hear Dudley. Dudley couldn't hear me. We're laughing. I mean, he was going so loud he was beating up the TV because they were. That morning, Steve Wilkos threw chairs, and he beat up Steve Wilkos, or he fought Steve Wilkos in front of the TV because Steve was throwing chairs. So, yeah, he's like I said, he watches that TV, man. He's dedicated to that thing.
Man, there's not too many people that's going to be beating up Steve Wilkos anyway. So good luck to him on that one, man.
He's watching it now. He doesn't like something going on pregame show about, I guess it's CBS, I guess, or Fox, whatever the Buffalo game on.
Oh yeah, the Buffalo should be starting up here pretty soon.
Well, they're shoveling snow. I think he's wanting to get it there to it because he eats it, man. He was scared of it at first, but once he figured out it was there, he eats it. So he's probably wanting to eat that snow on TV. He said,
get him out there. He can get a free ticket to the Buffalo game today, going out there shoveling snow for him.
Yeah, he could eat it. He'd eat it. I don't know about shoveling, but he'd sure eat it. He loves snow. He eats snow big time. Yeah, he's crazy.
Well, everybody, make sure to stay warm out there. It's supposed to be pretty dang cold, and again tonight it's supposed to warm up over the next few days. Check out KNWA. All of Dan, Zach, and all the team that's up there with Josh Rugger and Peyton. Make sure check out all of their weather forecasts. They were pretty well right on it. Dan was again. He said about probably between 3 to 5 inches, and we got it right about that. So make sure stay warm out there. And I want to thank Koi Southern Eats also for all of their hospitality and all the their products that they produce, and want to go out there and re-experience the re-experience the magic of Koi's and come get you some. And Otis, man, I want to get you out of here because this football game starts in about 15 minutes, man.
Yeah. The one last night was the one I was really interested in. I watched these, but I couldn't believe Dallas got beat like that. I love Jordan Love. Now I love Jordan Love, man. I really like that guy.
Yeah, making his bones now, man.
He is good. I watched him a few times this year. He's really good. The Rams last night, man, I had a feeling Detroit would beat them, but I knew it'd be a good game. But the red zone beat the Rams last night. Like I said, they got down there and had to settle for 3 field goals, whereas the Lions scored. Yeah. But if they were going to lose to anybody, losing to Lions was probably who I picked. Those 3 hogs on there, and I'm looking. I'm assuming San Francisco and Detroit will probably win their next 2 games. I'm assuming San Francisco will beat Green Bay. I mean, I thought Dallas would too, but if San Francisco and Detroit plays in the finals there, or that NFC, that should be a good game, Jason.
That'd be a really tough game.
I mean, even if it's Green Bay and Detroit, it should be good. But I think it'd be San Francisco and Detroit, and I can't see Philadelphia, Tampa Bay winner beating Detroit. I don't see that. I just don't see that. I felt like if the Rams had won last night, they were gonna get to play San Francisco or Green Bay. Now Philadelphia could get back like they were earlier in the year. Get that back, then they could, because they were one of the better teams early in the year. But then they hit they hit a dark spot in the road, man. Yeah, it's 13 degrees on my laptop. It says outside 13 degrees right now.
Ooh, heat wave right there.
320. Yeah, because it was like -1 or -2 this morning when I looked at it.
Yep. Quick prediction: Dallas will keep Mike McCarthy because Jerry Jones loves a yes man. He is not going to get rid of Mike McCarthy, and they are not going to sign Bill Belichick because Belichick, honestly, he wants to run the show and make sure that there is no interference, there are no distractions, and Jerry Jones is a walking distraction. Let's just face it. That's who it is. That's who he is. Bill Belichick will never go there because he saw the way that, it went for Bill Parcells. I have a prediction that Bill Belichick will wind up with the Philadelphia Eagles in the end. I don't think he's going to go to Atlanta. I don't think he's going to go to Dallas. I think Dan Quinn's going to go to Seattle, and Belichick is going to wind up in Philadelphia.
You don't think they'll fire McCarthy then?
Nope.
I agree about Jerry likes a yes man, but I don't. I don't know. I that's going to be a hard sell to keep him. But Jerry, you may be right. I don't follow it that closely, but like I said, I put on there yesterday. I didn't even know if Detroit had a dome stadium or not. I said I can tell you what the NBA players had for breakfast, but the NFL I don't keep up with as much. But I had to Google it. I did a search to find out if the Ford Field was domed. I was proud of that because I knew at night in Detroit it was going to be brutal.
Ugly.
It was brutal outside last night.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah.
This game here, watching this Buffalo Pittsburgh game makes me want to put on my coat and go get my go get my gloves out of the closet and stuff. And I'm watching it on TV, man. It looks so dang cold. I may have to get my coat and gloves and wrap up here and just watch it off TV. Man, that looks brutal. I can't believe people go to those games. I can't believe it. I'm sorry. You give me a ticket my way, I would not go.
I saw Chip Souza was out at the Kansas City game this weekend. I thought, man, this guy, he is some dedication right there.
Chip was?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was out at the Kansas City game, man. I'm telling you, I was like, that's some dedication, buddy.
Let me tell you, nobody loves a pro team more than I love the Lakers. And if they played outside and they played that, you couldn't get me there, man. That's what TVs are for. That's what these things are for, man. These remotes. They're for I'm not getting it. If the Lakers played outside.
Yeah.
I mean, or say the Rams, or the Yankees. I'm not going, man. I ain't going with zero. I'm just not doing it, man. I've been to a game in Green Bay. But just when I was young and dumb and I got so drunk I didn't care if it was cold, but I don't drink anymore.
You got that liquid layer on.
Yeah, I had being cold was the least of my issues that year. But I did go to Green Bay once obviously in the winter, that's when they play, but late fall, winter, whatever. In Green Bay, it's always winter up there. Once the season starts, there is no summer up there, man. I mean, once football starts, it's cold, but yeah. But like I said, that was back when I was younger, and I still lived in Mena at the time. So it's been many years ago. And, I got drunk as heck down there, man.
Well, Otis, I'm going to get you out of here for this Buffalo game. And I want you all to take care. Make sure to stay warm. Eat some warm food tonight. I'm telling you, it's going to be another cold one. But there is going to be a warming trend at the end of the week. So make sure to, like I said, pay attention to the weather. It's going to be on your side. And here in the next few days, just watch out for those slick spots out there and be careful on the roads, y'all, because again, Northwest Arkansas is a melting driving pot, and I'm going to tell you what, it's a bunch of idiots out there.
Hey, thanks to everybody for tuning in and watching this, man. I don't always say that, but I really mean it. Thank you, and it is appreciated. And even the Bulldog thanks
Bulldog.
You. Yeah, he thanks you. He's looking at it. I mean, he's the most needy dog today. I swear I'm going to have to run away from home, man. This dog will not. He's done this all day. I'm trying
my gosh.
He just pawed at me. He's me out, but he is a good dog, man. He is a good dog, but he sure loves.
He's got a face for TV, man.
Yeah. He loves this stuff, man. But he's gonna knock me off the internet here in a minute.
All right, well, I'll get you out
Oh,
here and y'all
Chris
take
the other
care.
day, we were
Yeah.
chatting on Facebook Messenger, and somehow he hit the button that you can call on there. Yeah, he called Christy the other day on there. So I try to keep
He was
him
just
away
wanting to
because
say hi.
he tore 2 of my keys off this laptop. I had to send it in and get it fixed. He was fighting bulldogs on Facebook Reels, and he tore 2 of my keys off, and one of them was the E key, and I had to do a story. One of the football games, and I didn't have access.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember I had to. Yeah, you said I've never seen this. I had to take my phone and edit all the E's into the story and then put it back on the laptop. Yeah, it's because he tore the E off, and I know the other letter he tore off. Still, you could still type it and it would work, but the E he completely destroyed it, and so I had to take my phone and edit my football story and put all the E's in. I've never seen that many E's in words in my life. I thought I was doing Wheel of Fortune or something. Buying a vow. Man, yeah, that was brutal. Yeah, he did that.
Man.
That was a bulldog that did that. But he destroyed the E key. You couldn't, like I said, the other one was like Y maybe or something. I don't remember which one, but I could type it and the key was gone, but it still worked. But the E wasn't. So I had to edit my whole story, man. And well, y'all's stories too. Y'all stories too. You and Jacob. I had to. You and all great. Yeah, I had to edit y'all's story. We had no E. Nightmare, man.
Yep. Well, Otis, get out of here, and go watch that football game. I'm going to be heading out to watch that game too and y'all take care, stay warm, and we will see you all next week. Tomorrow night I'll be on with Dudley at 6 p.m. And then Wednesday afternoon, I should be on with Marty. If not, we'll make something work the latter end of this week. So for Otis, myself, Jason, y'all take care, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, man.